Thank you for tuning into Sleep Bites, where I deliver easy to digest tips to transform your family's sleep. My name is Barbara. I'm a mum, a naturopath, a certified pediatric sleep specialist, and owner of Lavender Sleep and Wellness. Today we're talking about making changes to your baby or child's sleep. My approach to sleep is heart-centered and attachment-focused. It is possible to help your child sleep better without using sleep training methods such as control crying or cry it out, and I'm going to talk you through how in this episode. Before we make any tweaks to sleep, I recommend considering your child's temperament. If they are sensitive, changes will need to be small and gradual and might be met with a lot of resistance. An easygoing child, on the other hand, may be able to handle tweaks to their sleep better. It is also important when making changes to follow your child's cues and respond to them appropriately. This will help to maintain healthy attachment while bringing about changes to sleep. If any change is causing distress or frustration for either of you, it is not the right change for you both. When this happens, cease the change immediately and try something different. It doesn't pay to power through thinking that it'll get better in time. It likely won't. The distress or frustration is information that that particular change is not right for whatever reason, and no amount of time or endurance will make it right. Finally, before making any changes, hold them up to the light of your values. There is a lot of sleep advice out there. Some advice comes from well-meaning individuals and family, and some from Google and books. It can get overwhelming fairly quickly, and it's difficult to know which advice to follow. A lot of advice may be well-meaning, but if it isn't aligned for you because it doesn't make you feel good, creates frustration, or pushes you towards doing something that just isn't you and your family, then it's not worth pursuing. When you can identify your values, you can hold up each piece of sleep advice to their light. This can help shift from overwhelm and uncertainty about which piece of sleep advice to follow to confidence. You can now take on board the advice that aligns with your values and try it out and see if it works for your little one and your family. And this brings us to making changes to sleep. Once you've found some sleep advice that aligns to your values, now it's time to experiment with it. I recommend always starting slowly and making gradual changes as this suits most little ones best. If you are tweaking sleep times, for example, make shifts in 5 to 15-minute increments at a time. If your child is very sensitive, just start making 5-minute shifts. If they're more easygoing, try 15-minute shifts. Hold a time for a few days before shifting it again. Sometimes we can make a lot of changes and nothing gets better. Just as it's important to make slow, gradual changes, how many changes are introduced can also be important. For some children, one change at a time and giving it 7 to 10 days to see how it works is best. When making changes to sleep, we need to consider the foundational aspects of sleep. It's also important that your child is getting the right amount of sleep for them so they have sufficient sleep pressure built up to sleep well. For example, if they're taking too much day sleep for them and this is affecting their night sleep, it is the day sleep that needs tweaking. It is also important that the right time cues are being sent to the body to inform the body's internal clock as to the time of day. Lots of bright artificial lighting and screens at night misinform the body as to the time of day, and they also interfere with hormonal regulation of sleep, for example, the release of the sleepy hormone melatonin. Conversely, napping in a dark room in the day also misinforms the body as to the time of day. The foundational aspects to consider are 1. Having a morning wake-up time at approximately the same time each day, including weekends. This helps to set our body's sleep-wake rhythm. 2. Lots of bright natural sunlight on waking or before 10 a.m. 3. Bursts of natural light throughout the day. 4. Dim lighting at night. 5. Screens off, including passive viewing, at least an hour before bed. 6. Darkness at night. This includes ensuring there are no artificial lights on electronic items like smoke alarms, humidifiers, just anything shining in the room at night. I'll dive more into sleep science in another Sleep Bite. It can be helpful for some parents to have an age-appropriate schedule to follow when making changes. I know I like my schedules. However, bear in mind that these are a one-size-fits-all schedule. Just as you and your partner likely have different sleep needs and don't go to bed and wake up together at exactly the same time every day, so also your child's sleep needs will be different to another child's. Following a schedule rigidly or staying on a schedule for months without adjusting it to your child's changing development and sleep needs can contribute to sleep challenges. So when making changes to sleep, if they are on a sleep schedule, consider if the schedule is the cause of the sleep challenges. Or if you use a schedule to tweak sleep, use it as a starting point and adjust it to suit your child. Everyone has a different sleep need, and sleep needs also vary in individuals according to their age, daily factors such as physical activity, stresses such as illness, and recent sleep patterns. Also, little ones will take their sleep needs across days, which means that one day they may sleep more than another. This needs to be taken into consideration when making changes. Wake windows can be helpful as a guide only and not followed strictly, as there's a wide variation of normal between children. It's really important to experiment and find your child's ideal wake window, bearing in mind that it may be different to what a wake window guideline states. When I work with parents, I hear a lot that they don't want to create bad habits and cause sleep problems. There is quite a lot of anxiety around creating bad habits. When my daughter was little, a sleep coach told me not to look at her. So she installed sheets around the cot and I was to pat through these sheets. When I queried, but what if she's in pain? For example, if she has tooth pain, I was told to just insert gel on the gums through the sheets. I was also told not to hold her hand. It wasn't long before the sheets disappeared. I looked at her and I held her hand. Why? Because it didn't feel right to me. You don't go to sleep with a wall of sheets blocking you and your husband from looking at each other. You don't crawl into bed and tell him to shove over and don't touch you, or it'll create bad habits. You don't ignore ill health or discomfort. You won't create any bad habits with your child. And even if there is a remote possibility you will, habits can be changed. Please don't worry about creating bad habits. Surrender to whatever season of life your child is in and meet their needs and respond to their cues. Experiment with doing this for a week and see how things go. Hopefully you'll find, as I did, following their cues and your values and meeting their needs makes everything easier and not harder. Making changes is simply experimentation, tweaking things until you find what works best for your family. Remember, you are your child's expert and you've got this. Hold everything up to the light of your values and follow your instincts and heart. If you do this, you'll always be moving in the right direction.